Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone Titans expansion is launching today, but what if you don't have a lot of packs? What if you're not going to get all those sweet legendary and epic cards and be able to play with all of those? Can you still enjoy the launch day? I sure hope so, and I'm trying to help you out, and to do that I have built a bunch of budget decks that you can try on day one of Titans. Obviously, budget decks require a bunch of testing and knowledge of what the meta is going to look like, so performance is not guaranteed, but then again, if you're able to open some packs, get at least some cards, you just might be able to play these anyway and get some kind of glimpse of the new cards. I ordered these decks roughly in the order that I have faith in them, so this is probably the strongest one and the last ones are probably the weakest ones, but obviously I don't know yet. So first one, Treant Druid. Treant Druid is probably going to be able to come back. Treant Druid gets some beautiful cards in the new expansion like the Conservator Nymph. Battlecry transform a friendly Treant into a 5/5 Ancient with Taunt, so if you're able to get some Treants on the board, or even if you don't have Treants on the board already, when you hit turn 3, you can always play a Blood Treant from your hand, play Conservator Nymph, turn it immediately into a 5/5 Ancient. So Treant Druid, probably one of the premium aggressive budget archetypes in the new expansion. Also, most likely the only deck where you wouldn't play a Titan if you had one. For the most part, if you're able to open some of the Titans and you look at, okay, there's a budget deck, then there is a space for that Titan. You can always replace the Titan into the deck. But the Druid Titan costs 10 mana. It's really meant for ramp Druids, so it doesn't fit into this one. But yeah, this is one approach that you can take. Another deck that has potential, an archetype that pretty much always has potential, is Face Hunter, although I would really love to have Wild Spirits in this Face Hunter deck, because Wild Spirits together with Always a Bigger Jormungandr, together with a method to give them rush, be it the Absorbent Parasite that I'm using in my full cost list, or the Castle Kennels that I have added into this deck, it just delivers so much damage. And without those wild seeds, it's a little bit harder to get those big, Always a Bigger Jormungandrs, although you can do so with Awakening Tremors, saving one of the 4/1s so that you can use that with Always a Bigger Jormungandr. If you have Aggro always fits in this deck. You could replace a Quickshot, or you could replace a Prison of Yogg-Saron with your Aggro and just enjoy some of that Titan action as well. Overall, I believe in Face Hunter a lot in the upcoming meta, but without Wild Spirits, I would probably take out Quickshots for Wild Spirits. Without Aggro, it's just a little bit less strong than the full cost version. And another budget concept that you could try is Unholy Death Knight. Unholy Death Knight is the cheapest deck that you can play typically, because many of those unholy power cards come from the core set. Cards like Grave Strength, cards like Lord Marrowgar. They are core set cards, you always have access to them even though they show up as epic and legendary here. What could be a little bit of a twist for Titans is that because of the Ravenous Kraken, the only new card in this deck, you might be able to go with the Exile, and Exile might give a little bit of something new for budget players of Unholy as well. The Titans expansion also brings many new mechs, many of them also neutrals, so this could resurrect some of the old mech archetypes. For example, here is Mech Mage. So Mech Mage, Mecha Shark, Seafloor Gateway, going for those big swing turns, also having a bit more new neutral mechs available, and then just blasting with some spells to finish games. Frozen Touch, Fireball, and new in this one, Molten Rune. Molten Rune can also be forged, so you might get a touch of the forge mechanic, gives you some random spells, so gives you even more ways to win games. So there's some chance for Mech Mage to come back in this new expansion, also in budget form. And the same consideration applies to other mech decks like Mech Paladin. Although for Mech Paladin there are 2 epic cards in this list, because I think as a Mech Paladin you will run out of stuff unless you have Radar Detector. So Radar Detector just seems to be too important to miss. There's also Crusader Aura in this deck, a wonderful new card that I have had a lot of fun trying out recently. It's an epic, but it's a core set epic, so it's available for everyone for free anyway. Mech Paladin, another option. These are the mech decks that I think can be played on a budget. Then there's of course also Rogue. Mech Rogue is something that Blizzard is now promoting in the new expansion, but all the fun stuff in Mech Rogue is expensive, because Mimiron is really key and it's a legendary. Then there's the Lab Constructor, it's an epic. So I just don't know if there's a lot of fun things that you can do with Mech Rogue if you just play Mech Rogue without all all of the key really strong cards, which happen to be of higher rarities as well. So I believe on a budget, going with Mech Mage or going with Mech Paladin is probably stronger, even though Mech Paladin requires a pair of epics. Speaking of Paladin and Crusader Aura, I have not had time to fully test Crusader Aura yet. I played Crusader Aura in a Dude Paladin in a full cost list, and I had great experience with that. So here's a budget Dude Paladin. This is a deck that could have already been built for the current expansion for Festival of Legends, not necessarily needed just for Titans, but I just didn't have time to build this because Crusader Aura was added to the game so recently. Anyway, this actually doesn't have any new cards, so yeah, but if you really don't have Titans cards, then I guess it would be something new for a budget player to play, because it has that Crusader Aura, trying to get a lot of those Silverhand recruits on the board, then also having Horn of the Windlord as an alternative or finalizing wing addition, and boom, just tokens and some face hitting and winning some games, hopefully. And finally, I built this Aggro Demon Hunter. I'm not sure if Aggro Demon Hunter is going to be able to be a thing. It has not been talked about much before the expansion comes, but I think it has some potential. It is also able to use multiple new cards, like the Argonite Golem. 3 mana 1/5 has +1 attack for each card you have drawn this turn, so this is a 1/5 on your opponent's turns, but it's bigger on your own turns. But if they can't remove it, then you might be able to draw a bunch of cards, and then Argonite Golem just might hit them really hard. Just using the weapons, using the card draw tools, using the aggro shell, trying to find a way to win games through that, although I'm not certain if there's enough damage in this deck to survive, and that's why this one is last one on the list, the one that I'm least confident on, but it also does include multiple new cards. So there you have it. Even if you don't have a lot of packs, so that you can't really participate well in the release in the sense of being able to play all the new potential meta decks, then here are some budget alternatives. And if you open any of the Titans, you can fit in most of the Titans in this, like Aggro can go into Hunter, and Amictus can go into Paladin. So these decks can give you a bit of a shell, and then if you have like a single expensive card, then you can upgrade them a little bit with that, and hopefully get to experience a good Titans launch. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.